When 72-year-old Sammo Hung leaned back and shared that memory, "When I tried to kick him, I just put halfway. He fit in my face." He wasn't just recounting a sparring session. He was revealing the moment two legends recognized something in each other that went far beyond martial arts prowess. This was the story of how two childhood outcasts, scarred by different traumas but united by shared struggle, forged a brotherhood that would revolutionize cinema forever. Hong Kong in the 1950s was a powder keg of displaced souls. 2.5 million refugees had fled communist China, creating a sprawling urban jungle where survival meant adaptation. In this chaos, two boys were being shaped by forces that would define their destinies, not through privilege, but through pain. Bruce Lee arrived in this world on November 27, 1940, born in San Francisco's Chinatown during the mystical hour of the dragon. But it was Hong Kong's unforgiving streets that raised him. His mixed heritage, Chinese father, British-German mother, made him a target from day one. The British students at his schools didn't just tease him, they hunted him. "No dogs and Chinese allowed," read the signs that would later fuel his most iconic film scene. But young Bruce wasn't content to be anyone's victim. By age 13, he had formed his own gang, the Junction Street 8 Tigers. This wasn't some casual group of friends. This was a pack of street fighters led by a boy who refused to disappear into Hong Kong's margins. The violence escalated until one pivotal moment. An older student demolished Bruce using kung fu technique, leaving him bloodied and humiliated. That beating changed everything. It drove him to Master Yip Man's Wing Chun school, where he would forge the foundation of his legend. Meanwhile, across the same chaotic city, 7-year-old Hung Bo was being handed over to the China Drama Academy, not out of ambition, but out of necessity. Born into a family steeped in Hong Kong cinema with grandmother Chin Chiang as one of Chinese film's first female action stars, Sammo's path seemed predetermined. But predestination and choice are different beasts entirely. The China Drama Academy wasn't a school, it was a factory for producing warriors. Under Master Yu Jim Yuan's iron discipline, children learned to endure pain that would break adults. Sammo, given the opera name Yuan Lung, became the eldest and most protective of the legendary Seven Little Fortunes troupe. While other kids hoarded their earnings, Sammo shared his money with younger students like Jackie Chan and Yuan Biao. This wasn't charity, it was leadership forged in adversity. But fate had other plans for Sammo's body. At 16, a devastating training injury left him bedridden for months. As his muscles atrophied and his weight ballooned, he watched his chances of becoming a traditional leading man evaporate. The nickname Sammo, after a cartoon character called Three Hairs, wasn't meant as flattery. Here's where the paths of our two warriors diverged, yet somehow converged. Bruce's response to trauma was to become faster, deadlier, more precise. Sammo's response was to become something entirely new, a martial artist who could make people laugh while he demolished opponents. Bruce pursued perfection. Sammo embraced imperfection and made it beautiful. By the early 1970s, both men had carved different routes through Hong Kong's film industry. Bruce had fought his way back from Hollywood rejection, where racist casting directors chose David Carradine over the co-creator of Kung Fu. His response was to return to Hong Kong and rewrite the rules entirely. Through Golden Harvest and his own Concord Productions, Bruce demanded total creative control, unheard of for an Asian actor at that time. Sammo had taken a different path. Working as a stuntman since age 14, he'd learned every aspect of filmmaking from the ground up. By the time Bruce was making headlines with The Big Boss and Fist of Fury, Sammo was the industry's most innovative action choreographer, blending comedy with bone-crushing realism. Their professional worlds collided on the set of Enter the Dragon in 1973. Bruce, now 32 and at his physical peak, faced off against Sammo in the film's opening tournament sequence. It should have been routine, star versus stuntman. Instead, it became a moment of mutual recognition. "He asked me if I was really as fast as people said," Sammo recalled decades later. "So Bruce executed this kick that stopped just inches from my face. I couldn't even react. I just stood there, posed. He was incredibly fast. But here's what made this encounter legendary. Bruce didn't humiliate Sammo. He respected him, and Sammo didn't resent Bruce's superiority. He admired it. Two men who had been underestimated their entire lives recognized something invaluable in each other, the refusal to be defined by limitations. What bonded Bruce and Sammo wasn't just martial arts, it was their shared philosophy of adaptation. Bruce had developed Jeet Kune Do partly because traditional Wing Chun couldn't contain his vision. "Be water," he famously said, advocating fluidity over rigid structure. Sammo lived this principle differently but equally powerfully, turning his supposed physical disadvantages into signature strengths. When Bruce broke barriers by teaching Kung Fu to non-Chinese students, a decision that scandalized traditionalists and led to his controversial challenge match with Wong Jackman, Sammo understood the courage this required. Both men were revolutionaries disguised as entertainers. Bruce's approach was to obliterate stereotypes through sheer force of will and fist. His speed was supernatural, his philosophy profound, his screen presence magnetic. He made being Chinese not just acceptable but desirable to global audiences. Sammo's revolution was subtler but equally radical. He proved that martial arts heroes didn't need to be chiseled gods. His characters were everyman warriors, flawed, funny, human. Through films like Iron-Fisted Monk, 1977, and later Encounters of the Spooky Kind, 1980, he created entirely new genres, Kung Fu comedy and martial arts horror. On July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee died at age 32 from cerebral edema caused by an allergic reaction to medication. The shockwave devastated Hong Kong's film industry and left Sammo carrying a torch he never expected to bear. His death created a void, Sammo reflected years later. Bruce wasn't just a colleague, he was a hero and inspiration. Losing him meant losing potential collaborations, losing someone who understood the struggle. But rather than being crushed by Bruce's shadow, Sammo honored his memory by continuing their shared mission of elevating martial arts cinema. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, as Big Brother to Jackie Chan and Yuen Biao, Sammo helped forge the golden age of Hong Kong action cinema. Films like Project A, 1983, Wheels on Meals, 1984, and Dragons Forever, 1988, carried forward Bruce's revolutionary spirit while establishing distinctly different voices. Sammo's journey wasn't without struggles. The rise of Jackie Chan's international fame in the 1990s overshadowed his own achievements. Financial setbacks forced him to close his production company, Boho Films. Personal challenges, including divorce and health scares, tested his resilience. But like his childhood response to that career-ending injury, Sammo adapted. His later resurgence through Hollywood's martial law TV series, 1998 to 2000, made him the first East Asian to headline a primetime American network show. His return to prominence as action choreographer for the Ip Man series brought his career full circle, working on films about Bruce Lee's own Kung Fu master. Meanwhile, Bruce's legacy lived on through his daughter Shannon Lee's tireless work. Her revival of Bruce's original warrior concept for television proved that her father's vision of authentic Asian representation remained powerfully relevant. The series, which premiered in 2019, addressed contemporary anti-Asian sentiment while honoring Bruce's original philosophy of breaking down barriers. What makes the Bruce Lee-Sammo Hung relationship extraordinary isn't just that two legends respected each other, it's that their bond transcended the usual competitive dynamics of show business. Born from shared childhood trauma in Hong Kong's unforgiving streets, forged in the demanding crucible of traditional martial arts training, and strengthened by their parallel struggles against cultural barriers, their friendship represented something larger than individual success. Bruce gave Sammo his biggest break in Enter the Dragon. Sammo honored Bruce's memory by continuing to innovate and inspire new generations. Both men understood that their greatest enemy wasn't each other, it was a world that told them to know their place and stay there. At 72, when Sammo shares that story about Bruce's lightning-fast kick, he's not just reminiscing about a sparring session. He's celebrating a moment when two outcasts recognized their kinship. In a world that had spent their childhoods telling them they were too Chinese, too fat, too different, too much, they found in each other the validation that they were exactly enough. Their brotherhood proves that the strongest bonds aren't forged in comfort, but in the fire of shared struggle. Two boys who refused to be broken by Hong Kong's harsh streets grew into men who broke every barrier Hollywood could construct. They didn't just change cinema, they changed what it meant to be Asian on screen. And in that brief moment when Bruce's kick stopped inches from Sammo's face, two legends smiled at each other with the recognition that only warriors understand. We made it. Against all odds, we made it. What do you think about Bruce Lee and Sammo Hung's incredible bond? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more untold stories behind cinema's greatest legends. Thanks for watching.